Amityville Horror.
Possession.
3D.
Asylum.
Harvest.
Strange Eons Radio presents the Amityville Horror Picture Show. That's Eric over there. I am Kelly. We are your hosts on this increasingly strange journey of the Amityville film franchise. God damn it.
And that's Kelly's cell
Of
phone.
which there are 50-some entries as of this recording. Everybody, please turn your phone off. There are so many episodes, or there are so many movies, because the Amityville murders of 1974 are public fact, and there is no copyright on the name of Amityville, so anyone can make a movie with Amityville in the title. Each of these episodes features a revolving door of guest hosts, and today I am thrilled to introduce Steve Holetz of the Bone Bat Film Festival as our Amityville The Evil Escapes guest host.
Hey, what's up, everybody? How you guys doing?
Fantastic. So nice to get you in here finally, Steve.
It's good to be back, man.
Why don't you take 30 seconds and brag about yourself for a little bit?
Okay, Eric, you going to start the egg timer?
Kelly runs the timers.
Oh, okay. I
Hey,
don't
we
know
don't-
how that works, but
We don't do timers in this one. So
you don't
you're
do
good.
timers on
No,
the
no.
guests
You get to-
blurbing for themselves?
We really should have had a timer for when Micah was
Yes,
our
yeah. In
guest.
future episodes, you will all understand what he's talking about there.
Right on. I'm Steve Holetz, co-host of the Bone Bat Show and Comedy of Horrors Film Festival. I also occasionally play in a band called Social Media, and I watch a lot of movies, try to see a lot of live music.
Very cool. Tell us about the Bone Bat Film Festival. What is that? When is it?
That is the world's only dedicated comedy horror film festival. We've checked. We've done 12 instances of this event, which took place most recently on April 22nd, and at the SIF Cinema Egyptian, which was a big thrill for us.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Our 13th edition will probably take place sometime end of April next year. It's a full day event featuring comedy horror shorts from around the world, a feature or two, and also live music, which is a big factor in the Bone Bat Show itself. So we wanted to carry that over.
My favorite part of the show for the festival is because I run my own festival, say a lot of these shorts, the live music. It always disappoints me a little bit that a fair amount of the people exit during that part, because for me, that's the truly unique aspect. You put on a great show, you put on incredible shorts, and they're a lot of
Thanks,
fun.
man.
And it's one of my favorite festivals. I think I've been to every one.
Mhm.
But the live show is the part that I love the most. That's the part that is like, I could go and eventually probably take a lot of effort and hunt down all these shorts or whatever eventually,
Mhm.
but I'm never going to see the Pine Box Boys.
Yeah. Or this year, the
perform, or
Destroyers, who had go-go girls dressed up like
Yep.
mummies and like a video presentation for clips from Something Weird video behind them while they were playing.
Yes.
Like, it was just so perfect for our festival, and
it's
such a cool live event you'll never see again, to your point.
Yeah.
That really helps to make this event unique.
Yes. Plus, you and Gordon give out more shit than any other festival I've ever seen. And if you're interested, do the Kickstarters, because Steve's enormous package is well shared and really good.
Wow.
Thank you.
Holy cow. I mean, I'd heard that, but I didn't think we were going to start talking about it this early in the show. How long is the musical portion of the festival?
Usually it runs like a 45-minute set.
Okay.
The Pine Box Boys sort of do two different things. They do their kind of evil bluegrass thing, and they also do kind of sort of Tin Pan Alley jazz tunes
Oh, man.
under Lester T. Raw's Graveside Quartet, that name. So in the past, we have, if they come, we'll break it up into two sets and let them do a Graveside set and a Pine Box Boys set.
That is
which
very
is
cool.
always a lot of fun. Yeah.
So good. They're so good.
Okay, Steve, with every show, we ask our guests what their Amityville origin story is. So when did you first become aware of
This
Amityville
is so funny.
horror?
Eric's like, hey, do you want to be on the Amityville podcast? I'm like, I don't know anything about Amityville. I don't know why you're asking me, but
Wow,
so I
that's
mean,
new.
I grew up. We're of an age
Yes.
where trailers on TV for Amityville horror. I was aware that Lois Lane was in it,
Yes.
and then later on, one of my first work experiences. I worked for years and years at Walden Books. So during that time period, I shelved an awful lot of Amityville, a lot of Hans Holzer,
Sure.
a lot of these characters who surround the Amityville universe. But I've never read a book, and I had never seen a film until this film.
You're kidding me. You've
Wow.
never seen the
Not
original.
never
Still.
seen. I hadn't to this point because at this point I was like, well, do I watch the first 3 and then watch this? And it amused me to just go in cold. So I may watch it after the fact, and I've actually listened to all 3 episodes of the podcast, so I know pretty much what happens because I like to listen to you guys. But I have not actually seen the films.
So then you also know that there's no reason for you to really watch the first 3 films.
Yeah.
You're
Well, there
fine
might be. I
calling
don't
this
know.
one and done, I think.
Maybe the second one.
I'm so glad
If
we
you're
didn't
feeling-
make you watch part 5, the next episode, which is we're trying to figure out who we're going to get for a guest for this. And I think it's going to have to be like Tony or somebody who likes us because if we just
You're
come in
calling
with
in a favor for this one. is
when,
what-
when
Uh-huh.
you go in cold into this movie, you're going to be like, fuck these guys.
right on. That's funny.
Well, the movie we are talking about today is Amityville, The Evil Escapes from 1989.
Hey, here it is. Oh, you've grown.
Can I see my room, Grandma?
Well, Father,
It's gone.
Look at this.
could it be a trick? Maybe it's laying low for now.
This is ugly.
Yeah, that's why it's perfect.
Oh, damn. Things sharp.
There was a standing lamp in this room. What happened to it?
Sold or junk?
Would anyone have a record?
Aunt Helen must have money to burn, sending something this big all the way from Long Island.
A dozen years ago, evil was simply a concept in my mind. That house in Amityville has changed that concept to reality forever.
How could that happen?
For 300 years, no one has lived on that ground without tragic consequences. Now I believe that the evil in that house could transmigrate into that lamp.
I saw Daddy last night.
It was a dream.
Or another house. Or another person at the earliest opportunity.
Honey, you startled me.
You know, you shouldn't mess with the disposal once you've secured the switch. Yeah, you definitely got something jammed down here.
Use it and start by itself.
How can machines turn on by themselves?
That evil is searching for souls. And it will transmigrate into the most vulnerable person in its environment. Stay away from this house and all who are in it. Oh, listen,
It is the 4th entry in this franchise, I guess, although it's
Yeah,
hard to
Whatever.
link any of these movies to any of the other movies. This is only 10 years after the original came out.
Huh.
Seems weird.
Yeah. Yeah,
Took him
seems-
10 years to do 4 movies. That will not be the case
Oh,
as we get
Jesus.
into these later films.
2023.
10 months to do 10 movies.
It currently sits at 13% on Rotten Tomatoes. That feels about right to me.
Yeah, sure. We can go with that.
No budget or box office because this was a made-for-television movie, and it was network television. It aired on NBC on May 12th, 1989. I'm not going to ask if you saw it back then, Steve, because I know you
did
did
not.
not.
It's like, I
Eric?
did not either.
When did you finally see this? For this
Couple
podcast?
weeks, yeah, last week.
Wow. I watched.
The Amityville, as talked about before, so I won't say it again, but my dealing with Amityville was bitter enough that I never watched another
You can't
movie
even
again.
pronounce it. That's how much
Yeah.
you hate it.
That's right. I'm pronouncing it more how it's spelled, aren't I? Amityville.
Isn't
Well-
it the island where the sharks are? I don't know. That's how I know it.
That's Amity. Come on.
Oh, okay.
This was written and directed by Sanders Stern. He was the screenwriter of the original Amityville Horror. He has 32 credits, almost all television shows and TV movies, But that makes sense because remember, the original Amityville Horror, or as Eric likes to call it, Amityville, that was supposed to be a made-for-TV movie. And they liked the look of it enough that they went in, reshot, made Margot Kidder show her boobs, and put it on the theater.
So can you just fill in for me? Did Stern have anything to do with 2 and 3?
No.
So this is the first one that had the writing continuity to some extent from the first film.
That is a generous way of putting it.
I would say that as well.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
I'll just say this about Sandor Stern. This same year, 1989, he wrote and directed a really cool little creepy movie called Pin that a lot of horror aficionados like, about a anatomical doll.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe it came from the same guy, quite
Yeah, no kidding.
It also claims to be based on the novel Amityville, The Evil Escapes by John G. Jones, which is a collection of short stories of items that were auctioned off from the Amityville house. They are all evil, of course.
Yes, there you go.
This bears no resemblance to any of the stories from that Amityville, The Evil Escapes.
Oh, there were no
No.
lamps in any of the sub-stories in this book? Okay.
Starring, and this was weird, Patty Duke.
Yeah.
In some ways, I think that this film actually works better as a fucked up episode of the Patty Duke Show than as a member of the Amityville Horror.
I wish it was called The Patty Duke Show, The Evil Escapes. It would make more sense. She has 140 credits, mostly television, including 106 episodes of The Patty Duke Show. She was also in the TV movies Nightmare and Look What's Happened to Rosemary's Baby.
Ooh.
Which was a sequel, a made-for-TV sequel to Rosemary's Baby. Really, really bad.
The awkward title.
With the team from Look Who's Talking, which is really weird. I don't know what Bruce Willis was doing in this film, but I guess he was looking for a paycheck.
Demon voice.
Jane Wyatt is also in this. She has 93 credits. She was in Strange Conquest, House by the River, and The Treasure of Matacumbe. Zoe Trilling is in this. She's 26 credits. She was in Dr. Giggles, Night of the Demons 2, and Leprechaun 3.
Okay. On Zoe Trilling, were you guys both amazed at how much she looks like Natalia Dyer from Stranger Things?
She looks a lot like her.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, I am not attracted to either of them, and they share this weird kind of look. I wouldn't say they are traditionally attractive girls.
I don't know that your attractiveness to them has anything to do with them being resembling each other, but okay.
But I guess, well, no, it creates a network of similarities that are recognizable.
Right. You know what? Here's the thing. I didn't place why I was so unattracted to her until just now, Steve. So thank you for that.
I'm glad I can help you nail that down.
Made it happen.
And then Aaron Eisenberg is in this with 27 credits. He's been in House 3, Puppet Master 3, and for you nerds out there, 47 episodes of Star Trek Deep Space Nine as the Ferengi Nog.
Okay.
Vanessa
Has he been
would
to
know.
Crypticon?
You know, I don't know, but probably
sure.
not. He passed away in 2019 at the age of 50.
Wow.
So it's still plausible, but probably not likely.
Probably not likely. He was doing the convention circuit and everything. He has had, he was born with like only one kidney or something like that. And he has had health issues all his life. And finally he passed away. It's getting weird as I get into my 50s to see people pass away at the age of 50. And because I'm sure at 20, I was like, 50, he lived a long life. Now I'm like, 50 doesn't seem like that old. Let's get into the story on this. Boy, this movie is fucking wacky. On a dark and stormy night, 6 priests enter the infamous Amityville horror house and go in to exercise it. Like they put a posse of priests together and said, we have just had enough of this house.
I love that idea. I thought that was kind of fun.
I was just like, I want to see the meeting that happened prior to this.
Yes, exactly. There's an Amityville story for you.
Oh, by the way, I'm going to be pitching 3 Amityville films at the end of this episode. So I want you to all
I may
stay
have a
tuned
4th
for that. Okay,
so we'll come back to that.
Oh, my.
But just talking about this, so to your point, the 6 priests go in to exercise the house and get their asses beat.
Oh, for sure.
And the reason they get their asses beat, anybody should know this, from King Diamond's Abigail, you always send 7 priests.
Oh, is
it's
that
even
what
in the Pixies. If man is 5, the devil is 6, and God is 7.
Yes.
You never, if you want to get a sandwich fucked up, send 6 priests to make the sandwich. It's not going to work.
I should have known this. I was just listening to Stryper, and it should have been on my radar. It was not.
Like fundamentally, they just were going about it wrong.
Well, before we even get into that, let's get into the fact that at the end of Amityville 3, the house explodes.
Yes.
So this, okay, I've got an explanation for this. So this either takes place before that because the house is empty.
Oh, right. Yeah.
They're selling the stuff in this one. And in 3, he goes in there and the house is empty. So first of all, you guys, I have watched all of these movies now a shit ton of times, and I live Amityville Horror. You can see that I have an Amityville Horror replica house here with the light up windows on the top. The other thing is this, Amityville 1992, which is episode 6, it fucks with time, and we will find that the clock from that can change everything, and maybe the clock is what brought the house back from being exploded. I don't know.
Sure, why not, man?
One of the priests is Father Kibler.
Frederick Lean?
Seems like you could have spent a little more time on this name. I don't know. He is upstairs and he starts blessing the room, and there is a lamp up there. And
sure,
this
yeah,
lamp
that's what I guess you call it.
The weirdest looking lamp I've ever seen.
Ugly fucking lamp.
It repeatedly told that through the movie how ugly it is. It's shaped almost human-like. It's got 2 appendages that come off, a big huge globe at the top.
And sort of looks like a tree.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't know why it would have been in the house to begin with, or why this couldn't just be a cool old-looking lamp instead of this thing. But the one thing I loved is it's like the house decides to put all of its energy into this lamp through the cord, and that little ball of energy goes through it. And I was like, how did they do that?
Like a rat going through a snake, which is hilarious.
Yes, I thought
it's not the only time that image comes up in this film.
Oh, right, yeah.
I think that it's a really cool effect.
Yeah, it's a great device. What a weird idea.
It conveys what you want it to convey.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like they took like a boulder, like a marble, you call a boulder, I don't know what they call them anymore, and they stuffed it through a hose or something to create that effect.
Or a soft hose, and they drug it through with like a fishing line or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I loved it though. Yeah, we've talked about the lamp. It's got the 2 arms that also end in bulbs. It is it's distracting in how stupid looking it is.
Oh yeah. Yes.
I'm not sure if we're supposed to believe that like everything in the house has suddenly just gotten evil by being in the house.
Well, how could you be if you didn't plug it in? Like according to the world's own rules, evil toaster, yes. Evil potted plant, maybe not.
Well, then you haven't watched Amityville 1992.
I have not, clearly.
Which is not a plug-in clock. It's a big mantle clock.
Like a twist to wind old style clock.
I don't know how the evil got in there, Kelly.
I think that it just kind of emanates from the house and gets in you like
an osmosis type.
There you go.
Like a plague. I would have liked any backstory on this lamp, like the guy who made it maybe 100 years ago, trying to figure out
Toulon.
Yes, exactly. I was like, anything to show why this stupid lamp looks like this. I made this for my daughter, and then she was accidentally electrocuted by it, and now her spirit lives in it, or something, anything.
I am Groot, and I am lamp.
Yes, he does look like a Groot lamp. Once this energy goes into it, this very stupid demonic face shows up in the bulb. We're going to see that with eyes coming up again. And Kibler is thrown across the room. I'm not sure what they're implying here. If the lamp was just a normal lamp until the house put its evil into it.
Who knows, man?
I have no theory on that.
Yeah.
Well, because later we're going to find out that they all feel that the house is clean now. I was like, okay, so it just all dumped itself into the lamp, and then
that big old marble was all the evil that Amityville had.
Yeah. So a few days later, the real estate agency decides to have a yard sale.
I'm just going to interject on that. Really? The Amityville house yard sale? You know who's going to shop that? Not most people.
I think that you get a lot of looky-loos in there and looking for, well, this lamp has a little blood splatter on it. I'm definitely taking that.
Yep.
But otherwise, I don't get it. And I don't get the idea of people rummaging through a yard with all of this stuff. And I don't know when the last time you were at a garage sale was, but if you saw a lamp and it said $100 on it, you would just pass.
Yeah.
But you have these two elderly ladies in their best aerobicized costume, aerobicized parkas, oddly, and they're shopping like you do, and the one lady wants to send it to her sister as a gag gift.
Yeah, that's like what I mean. She talked it down to I think $50 or something, or $75, and then you're going to spend what $300 or more to ship that stupid thing.
Okay.
Here's the other thing they never talked about is that somebody at some point is constantly moving this 300-pound lamp up and down stairs. You've got two houses peopled almost exclusively by elderly ladies. I'm not sure how that happens.
Steve, I'm going to get back to this claim of a 300-pound lamp towards the end.
Okay, fair.
Yeah,
But first of all, I'm so just angry at this storyline. Now, Sandra Stern is a well-respected writer of television. He should know all the rules and everything. This whole idea that they're going to have two ladies who are really unconnected to the rest of the story buy this lamp, send it to somebody who's going to now have the story of the lamp. Why can't this person just buy the lamp, bring it to their house? Her daughter is the one who's coming in. It's just why this extra moving piece?
Fill time for this slot they needed for TV, but that you could have done better than that if that's what you needed to do.
Maybe their set house was in California.
Their set house definitely is in California, but that doesn't stop any of the other movies, which were also set houses in California.
Yeah. Just got to build the facade of the Amityville house like, we've got right here on the table, and you could put that anywhere you want. Mexico City.
While checking out the lamp, the lady cuts her finger on it. And it is something where I guess I would say, I'm going to have that part destroyed or sawed off or filed down or something like that before I mail it to my also elderly sister.
I grew up in a house where my parents brought back like wrought iron lamps and furniture from Mexico.
Sure.
All of them were covered. In the 70s, every bit of furniture had like these black metal spikes on it. You could cut yourself 7 different ways from Sunday. That was totally normal back then. That was before we safeified everything.
How did your younger brother die? Well, he tripped and fell on our lamp.
Yeah, fell on the lamp.
I remember my brother had one of those, I'm sure it was from Mexico, one of those like miniature shields with two crossing swords and like a mace, an actual Morning Star mace hanging from it and everything. It's like, what the fuck? Why would you give that to your kid? Who do you think got hit with that shit?
Let's see what happens.
So she cuts her finger on the lamp, before she mails it off. And over the course of the next day or so, the finger gets so infected
Holy shit,
and
that looks
discolored.
bad. So bad that the delivery boy
Yeah.
like, God damn, that's terrible looking.
Did you get that looked at, lady?
She will later die of this wound. Tetanus. That's what the doctor says is tetanus.
Well, it was evil tetanus, but he wasn't familiar.
I guess, at least in Amityville 3, the chick there gets impaled in her car and everything. This death, I'm not even sure I feel like we can count it towards the body count of the house. It's like death by tetanus.
Yeah. Death by mysterious circumstances would have helped that better.
Right. I don't know. The lamp arrives at her sister's house on the same day that her sister's daughter, Nancy, and her 3 children, Amanda, Brian, and Jessica, move in with her. The dad and his family just died, and they need a place to stay. This is also, I don't know. There's so much overwriting going into this story. I'm not sure why we have to complicate everything this way. I do know that, Jessica, the little girl, is going to start thinking that the lamp contains the soul of her father and stuff like that. So that needs to be in there. But all of this is there's just so many extra moving parts in this story that don't need to be there.
The venom her mom has towards her with the marriage and all. It's like, what is the point of this nastiness? It doesn't move the story. It doesn't do anything for the story and just makes the grandmother look like a horrible person.
She really is the bitchiest grandma in the world.
Yeah.
Just complains constantly about
She's
everything.
not baking a lot of cookies, this grandma.
No, I already know that I hate her because she has a bird.
Oh, jeez.
And I fucking
Terrible.
hate people who have birds. I'm like, look, cats and dogs are fine. Once you get into flying animals, I feel like you've got something that you want to prove to people. Like, look at me. I'm a little cooler than people who like cats and dogs. It just really annoys me.
I'm a horrible insomniac and I want a lame excuse for why I can't sleep. My bird kept me up at night again.
Everybody thinks the lamp is hideous, and including the other animals in the house.
Yeah.
The bird, Fred, goes crazy when it's turned on, and the cat, Pepper, goes crazy.
Yes.
I just with every movie, I'm angrier and angry at this podcast idea.
You kind of leaned into it.
I really
37 films and counting? Is that right?
50 now. 50.
Yeah. Plus, you're subjecting yourself to multiple viewings.
Well, because I don't want anyone to feel like I didn't give this the respect it deserved.
Okay, so before you claim that the cat's name was underwritten, our cat's name is Pepper. I just want to lay that out on Front Street. Before you insult me and my family.
I said nothing about the cat's name Pepper, and I'm not even sure if it's Pepper because in the IMDb the cat's not listed.
Oh,
so clearly this was under the table actor, but also they seem to be calling it Pipper. So I'm like, is it Pepper or Pipper? And in the articles I read, there was one Pipper and one Pepper, and I decided that Pipper is not a word, and so it probably is not the name. And it sounds similar to a real word, so I'm going with Pepper.
Sure.
And of course, the little girl seems to be drawn towards the lamp. So the next day, Fred is found in the toaster oven.
That's right, yes. Tasty.
I'm not sure how he died because he's not toasted.
No.
And I don't know if he's not toasted because this is network television or what they're trying to say. If the lamp is just a real asshole and it's like, I'm going to scare the bird to death, but I'm also going to hide him somewhere where you can be grossed out. It makes no sense to me.
Oh, well.
Everybody starts talking about how the appliances in this house are going crazy, but nobody says, how did the bird get himself into the toaster then, if nobody did it?
Just flew headlong. It was a suicide.
It's never brought up.
You don't think it was the daughter?
Well,
is she exceeding? I mean, we'll get to it, but she's affected by the lamp.
She absolutely is. Now, I suppose that could be the thing that they want us to draw a conclusion to, but then they should have gone, look, everything else in this movie is super obvious. They should have done a little look on her face, like, something like that.
Look at the camera. Look what I did. One weird note that I watched this movie, there are blue eyes, and then there are those kind of weird blue eyes that are sort of freaky.
Meg Foster blue eyes.
Yeah. Almost everybody in this movie has a version of those. Mm-hmm. They're all freakishly blue-eyed, except for the little girl, the youngest daughter. It's like brown-eyed. I'm like, is that because she's or greenish brown or something? I don't remember, but it wasn't that weird blue that everyone else has.
Look, I'm going to come out and say it. Everybody in this movie is weird looking.
That's fair.
Accurate.
Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah,
they're just I know it's 1989, so it's not the high-waisted jeans that are bothering me. It is their faces. Their faces are freaking me out. Except for Brian's, rest in peace.
Yeah, well, there you go.
He will be missed. Also, Grandma has a housekeeper that's introduced. She's not thrilled about the lamp. And I really thought they missed the boat. It's 1989, so racism is totally allowed. How come she is not the racially magical housekeeper that has like some kind of voodoo past or something, or a Mexican woman who's got some kind of Santeria or, all of this stuff completely missed. This is the whitest movie in the world.
It's very white.
Yeah, that's true.
There's nobody
Yeah.
of any color in this.
It is heavily female, though.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's a very, very female cast.
Okay. So the handyman's assistant shows up, and the daughter clearly has a crush on him and distracts him enough to get his hand mangled by the
older
garbage
daughter.
disposal.
The older daughter.
Yeah.
At this point, I kind of thought that the amount of gore was surprisingly robust for a TV movie from 1989.
I felt the same way too. When I first saw this was made for TV, I thought it must have been like HBO or something. And
But no, NBC, right?
NBC, yeah. I thought, I remember watching this. I had moved back from LA, but I did not remember it being a movie. That's the other thing. It doesn't seem like the movie I watched, at least, doesn't seem like it has commercial break spots, where you'd see.
I think it did get a re-release on video and got an R rating or something I looked at had an R rating on it. So I don't know if they would have added something in and gone, oops, maybe we should have not put this on TV or whatever. But I'm sure it's more just a marketing ploy.
Or maybe it was one of those late night movie things. They showed it only after 10 p.m. or something like that. I don't know.
It could be.
Do you recall?
No, I remember it being, regular time. It might have been, I don't know, it might have been 9 o'clock or something like that. But I don't know.
It is violence. It's not nudity.
I was going to say, they could have thrown in a little nudity there, but given that our choices would be underage women or women over the age of 40, then maybe we didn't.
Well over the age of 40. Yeah. Patty Duke. Oh.
Although, you know what? Patty Duke's boobs would have probably brought in a lot of viewers.
Sure.
I think there's two things I love when this kid gets his hand mangled. The blood splatters all over the daughter.
Yes.
Just pretty fantastic. And also, she screams and makes no move towards the switch to turn it off. She just screams while the kid's in there.
In fairness, she just moved in. There's a lot of switches around. She doesn't know which switch it is.
We just watched
She's just sitting there flipping the light on and off while the guy's hand's getting chewed up into the garbage disposal.
We just watched the kid tape the light down. I like that he's like, you always tape the switch down.
Like, you do?
No, I've never heard that. Anything. Now, you could turn the fuse off or something like that, but you tape the switch down because it might accidentally come on.
What if the switch is down and the up position is on? Screwed up then.
I suppose you're supposed to attempt to use the switch first and then figure that out.
I would hope so.
I don't know. It's the movie is. Yeah.
Did we skip the chainsaw thing, or is that, do I have that in the wrong order?
Let's see. Did I skip that?
I thought that happened earlier.
I think the chainsaw thing does happen before that. Yeah, the kid goes down and pretends to play with the chainsaw, and then the chainsaw comes to life.
It's so dumb. It's so ridiculous and fun.
It's quite bad.
Yes.
And it's also one of those Evil Dead 2 hand-possessed moments where he's clearly making the chainsaw do everything, but acting like the chainsaw is doing it himself. It's, man, what do you love so much about this?
Oh, it's just because it was so ridiculous. And then the lady, the grandmother come down and yelling at him as he appears to lunge at her with the chainsaw.
He does lunge towards her. She avoids it by ducking, and then he cuts like one of the beams of the stairway out. And everything.
Yeah, which I thought was going to come back.
Fortunately,
later.
that wasn't a load-bearing beam.
I guess not.
Yeah, it was not. But it was so long. It was
the
like
scene?
Yeah, it just kept going and going. I've sawed these. Now I need to saw this. Now I need to try to saw people. And
he sawed about 4 cords of wood.
Yeah, there you go.
They're set for winter now. It's not that the evil chainsaw was a bad thing.
Right.
Yes. Because that's why it was just dumb and ridiculous and cracked me up, which is, how I watched most of this movie.
I guess that at this point, I'm completely on bitchy grandma's team now, because it is impossible to believe that the chainsaw started by itself and then, why not just drop it then?
Yes.
So I would have been like,
move it.
Listen, I was trying to help you guys out, but you can't live here anymore. You fucking chainsawed my basement.
It's kind of a deal killer. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't mind you killing my bird. I'd only had him for a couple of years.
Those fuckers live forever.
Yes.
So.
the destruction of my basement via chainsaw seems like a good enough reason to kick you out.
And it's never really broached again.
No, it is broached again
Oh, does
because
it come
they
up?
start saying all the electrical appliances in this place are going
right.
crazy.
It's like, yeah, the gas powered chainsaw is part of the electrical appliances. Hey,
Yeah. I'm guessing, well, because we do see that the evil of the light bulb does go into the house
yes,
via the same
yes. Got the
cable.
marble
So,
going the
yeah.
reverse shot of the previous scene.
Right. Yeah.
So is it wrong then to make the assumption that Sandor Storm didn't really do a lot of handyman work around it? Not really super firm on how different appliances work, and chainsaws and
Yes.
things like that.
Keep a chainsaw in the basement.
He maybe had a handyman or he called a guy when something went wrong.
Other things are going to start happening where you realize that the evil has no bounds.
That's true.
It is not.
As Slayer would say, evil has no boundaries.
It has. It's not stuck in this house. So let's see. Oh, after the kid, so grandma comes back from the hospital after dropping the kid off there, and the daughter and the granddaughter are sitting there, and she says, "He'll live." And the granddaughter starts weeping, in relief, and I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, he has lost a hand. A lot of people lose hands and live.
Yeah.
It's not the type of thing I would be going, will he live? It's like, are they going to, he'll never play piano again.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Mm-hmm. We couldn't reattach it. Yeah, no shit.
Don't they pull up a finger or something at
Yes.
one point? Yeah.
Well, there's the pipe later on.
They emptied out the trap, I'm sure, after into a bucket and took that to the doctor with them.
Yeah. So Nancy calls a plumber to fix the pipes because finally coming back to the original movie, the pipes are full of some kind of black goo.
Yeah, there you go.
And that feels like, something from the original Amityville horror, at least. Mm-hmm. So not just the electricity in the house, it's going to infect the entire house.
Right.
But the plumber, the lamp murders him by drowning him in sewage.
Okay. So
And
is
a
it just
hand.
me, or was this entirely slow motion, avoidable death so Lucio Fulci-esque?
Yes.
Like you think of
Yes.
the blood and tarantulas across the floor and just lying there catatonic. Like you could totally not die from this if you just literally did anything.
Steve, I think you're forgetting that the wood beam falls on his chest and pins him in place.
Sorta. I don't know. I feel like I was not convinced by that wood beam's placement.
Well, it's one of the things, it's one of Eric's least favorite tropes. It does
Yes.
seem like he could have been fine if he had turned his head to the side and closed his mouth.
Yes. Yeah.
But I did like the pipes bulging
I did.
in the same way that the cord bulged earlier.
I did like that pipe
Yeah.
bulging effect. That was actually
That
pretty
was
decent.
cool.
Yes, that worked.
So, all of the effects seem to be kind of informed by Bugs Bunny cartoons. But
Didn't a hand come out with the goo too?
yeah,
That's
once
what
they
it was.
opened the
Full
cap,
hand.
yeah, there was a whole hand in there.
Like, hey, dude.
But yeah, that was totally Lucio Fulci, just how slow motion and then gloppy the death was. I liked that. Was maybe my favorite death in the whole thing, just because it was ridiculous.
Well, this sets up the scene that is my favorite scene because then the van or the lamp possesses the plumbing van and drives it away
That's
True,
right.
yes.
to make them think that he has left. And I'm like, this is brilliant. And I will be coming back to this at the end of this because I want to know how far this van went. So, of course, we've through this whole thing, the youngest daughter, Jessica, is drawn to the lamp. She's starting to believe her dead father's spirit is inside of it. And this is kind of definitely the Amityville playbook. It plays with your relationships and loved ones.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of like, I buy into this as far as continuity.
That aspect is a through line, yes.
Yes. That's the nicest thing you've said about this movie, Eric. And meanwhile, Father Kibler, I want the
Who
cat.
my wife says resembles a young what's his name? You know what?
Clues. Anything? Something he's in? Anything? See, we're experts on this show of forgetting someone's name, so that's fine.
He did remind me of someone, and I can place the
Guy
face.
Invasions of the Body Snatchers. Donald Sutherland.
Really?
That's what she thought, yeah.
That is not who I would have said. That's interesting. Huh. I like that they wasted their time making this guy a good-looking priest and then gave him no kind of romantic interest with the wife or something like that.
Yeah,
it's like, why can't this guy just be someone with a little more age so that we feel like it's worth being invested this heavily in this thing? Because he can't stop thinking about the evil of the house, and he's been investigating, which all results in the lamp giving him a crank call and then melting the phone's handset. It is
excellent stuff.
Listen to this. It is literally the most amazing piece of evidence of evil. There is a witness to it with him, but nothing is ever done or said about it again.
That's true. Hey, you remember that time the phone melted? Wonder what that was about.
That was weird.
Yeah, well, that's what you think, but you don't know that the melted phone is in the Annabelle Museum of Evil.
Oh, okay. All right.
Perfect. Yes. Let's go see it.
That ties back into the Warrens then, who investigated the Amityville case, right? Fucking assholes. So Father Kibler travels to California to warn the family. We're getting into the third act of this movie.
Yeah.
When most of the family is away, the lamp murders their housekeeper and strangles her with its cord.
Hides her in a closet.
Well, I think it's just up in the attic, right?
Yeah, probably the attic.
Because they've moved it into the attic. And
because this 300-pound lamp is so easy to move.
I'm going to come back to your 300-pound claim, Steve. Because they do act like this lamp is very heavy.
Yes.
The police show up, they investigate, decide she had a heart attack. But I ask you, when you're strangled by a cord, don't you generally have like strangle marks around your
marks?
neck?
Yeah.
You would think. Yeah. To go with the bloodied knuckles and all that stuff.
I really wish that these cops were like in on it somehow. And that they come there, they see like the marks around her neck and it's like, well, clearly a heart attack.
There's a shot as they walk into the house and one of them's got the original Amityville book paperback in his back pocket.
Right.
Oh, this might be it.
Father Kibler contacts Nancy and tries to convince her that the evil has taken possession of the lamp. This is the scene where I thought we were going to get some kind of like a romantic thing when they kind of meet. Well, first he goes there, the little girl invites him in, and then he can't make it and throws up. That's also a nice Amityville trope, is the priests who are vomiting because the place is so evil. Then he meets the mom at like a dinner.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted it to be like, sparks flying or something, and, forbidden love.
Something.
Because when you think of Patty Duke, you think sparks.
Well, I'm just, okay, you got me. I just like, okay, they've made him a young, handsome priest. She is, single all of a sudden.
Yeah, ladies got needs.
That's right. I'm waiting for Eric to make some kind of joke about how he wouldn't be attracted to a of-age woman.
Being the age I am, I'm past all that kind of thinking. Like, what are you talking about?
So this is, Eric and I went to the same film school. This is how you know we're in the third act of any movie, is everybody is running now.
That's right.
So they rush home only to find that the lamp has completely brainwashed Jessica, right? And they run upstairs to, I guess, what's supposed to feel like a Exorcist or Poltergeist kind of ending where things are moving by themselves and all that stuff. And the little girl, literally floats towards the priest like, the Evil Dead demons or something, and then stabs him in the shoulder.
Yeah, that was random.
It was also like, Steve, a slow motion, easily avoidable stab. I think he could have moved out of the way.
No,
this little girl's floating towards me and has a knife.
So there's all sorts of stuff going on. The priest is trying to exorcise the lamp. Everything's going on. Grandma comes and saves the day by doing what, Steve?
Did she unplug the lamp?
She grabs the lamp.
Okay.
She easily picks
Oh,
it
yeah.
up.
Yes,
Throws it out the window,
that's
right?
right,
Yeah. The end.
She
Down the
easily
cliff,
picks it up.
giant
This is
thing.
not a 300-pound lamp. And then it turns into a 300-pound lamp
Okay,
again
but-
because it wraps its cord around the priest and starts dragging him like, Captain Ahab and Moby Dick.
Right.
And so all of a sudden, this lamp that she could easily throw out the window is heavy enough to drag him across the floor.
No, but this is still the time period of like 70s, 80s. That's incredible. Moms lifting cars
You know what?
to save their family.
Adrenaline.
You're telling
Jane
me
Wyatt
she had
was
adrenaline
she had that
strength.
super strength from I must save my daughter and my grandchildren, who I hated up until this whole
Absolutely
movie.
hated.
They fucked up my house. They've been, messing my groove up, but I have to save them, and I'm going to throw this 300-pound lamp out the window.
Well, I'd like to think that she had like a moment of clarity where she realized, fuck, I brought this lamp into the house and I have caused all of this problem. But
Did
then,
she? It was her sister.
well,
She
Yeah,
still,
kept
really
the
her.
damn thing. Somebody sends me that. I'm going, ha ha, funny. Gone.
Rolled it out next to the dumpster.
Right.
End of movie.
right. I feel like I would have liked this a little better if she had grabbed the lamp and like thrown herself and the lamp out. I think
Oh,
that would have
yeah.
been
More
a stronger ending. And also then problem solved. The kids inherit the house and they're back on their own again.
Yeah, all the evil's clear. And then they go back through the house, install side opening windows and screens in every window because you got to have that when Amityville's around.
The side opening window would be a good thing because the lamp knocks the older daughter out by slamming the window
Yeah.
down on her head.
Yep. As she sticks her head out because there's no screen to stop her from going
Right.
all the way out there. It's like, safety note from Amityville movies.
Yeah. So anyway, she lifts the lamp easily. I feel like this lamp is 15 pounds myself.
Probably.
The movie ends with the family thinking their ordeal is over. The camera pans to the remains of the lamp, showing the evil within has now possessed the family's cat.
That cracked me up, man. That was an immediate laugh line for me.
In a still photo.
Still photo with
Yeah.
glowing red eyes.
Wah.
Also,
Finny.
now that's the end of the movie, right? Nobody is going to address the fact that the plumber is still dead under their house.
Oh yeah, no,
Nobody ever found the plumber. That's right.
they'll find that. They'll find him eventually, but it's going to be unpleasant.
All right, I want to pitch you my movies. Wasted sequel opportunities
Okay.
for the next film.
You don't realize there's somebody out there that's going to listen to this, write that down, and you're going to see.
Let me preface this with Amityville movie ideas, copyright 2023, KL Young. Okay, first one, Amityville Cat. Follows the further adventures of Pepper
Oh.
the cat that
Oh,
has been
yeah.
possessed at the end of the movie. I figure he gets taken in by another family, starts causing havoc.
Mhm.
Also, they name him Mittens. Amityville Cat.
Jesus Christ. You know, it's too ludicrous now to dismiss this as a possibility of a film. They've been to friggin' space. It's possible.
Okay. If you don't love, I feel like I'm in the room with the Amityville filmmakers, right? And I'm like, okay, I got another one. I got another one for you.
okay.
All right.
Give it.
Amityville plumber van. Follows the further adventures of the van that just drives off after the plumber has been killed, right?
Oh,
I figure
yes.
that the van shows up at houses that have legitimate plumbing issues, and then it just makes them worse.
Nice.
Because
and it can
evil.
Yes.
travel the country, so there's mysterious little plumbing issues all around the country.
All right, Eric, you've just tied into my next.
Oh, all right.
Amityville plumber van meets Amityville priest, which is the further adventures of the priest from Amityville 2 that was possessed by the evil of the house.
Okay.
And then, of course, while they travel together, the van and the priest, they come across Pepper, the cat, and then they all roam from city to city, causing all sorts of trouble. In this movie, I figured that Pepper, he wears a priest collar for his collar.
Ah. Okay.
Nice. You know, I sit here and I think of these things, and I think we could have done the movies of Stephen King, the movies of John Carpenter, Wes Craven, explored them thoroughly and deeply. But no.
I felt like this needed to be done.
Okay. Well,
It does.
now I have
Does.
one too.
Wait a second, I'm
Okay.
not done.
You're
Steve.
not done.
Oh,
I'm not
I thought
done.
you said
Hold
you had
on.
3. Okay.
Well, okay, but I forgot.
I'm going to put 4 down here.
Amityville support group. which is just a group therapy session with all the priests that have been blinded, burned, possessed, attacked, and sickened by the Amityville house and its furniture. And it's just a round table where they're all trying to one-up each other with the abuse they have taken at the hands of the Amityville house.
And you get some smart-ass kid running around on the outside, releasing like tons of flies in at some point, squirting blood on the walls and running away.
Steve, pitch me your movie.
Okay, so, nowadays, obviously, the 6 priests screwed the pooch. They didn't get anything done in exorcising the evil from the house.
Okay.
And nowadays, we're in a more secular society. We're in, when we need an expert, we call like the Geek Squad from Best Buy. So I'm thinking Bed Bath & Beyond has a secret cadre of furniturists that will show up at your house and get rid of your evil lamp and or divan. Any evil furniture you may have. And this could go into just a series of these furniture exercising experts.
I love that it's Bed Bath and Beyond.
Exactly. Yeah.
Perfect.
Little Fulci nod there, my friend.
I think that all of these ideas are better than a lot of what we will be dealing with as we get further into this franchise.
Yes. I did say I will give the credit to this movie for one thing, which probably helped spawn all the other friggin' things that are going on. The expanding the idea of it being a haunted object. So now it can go wherever we want it to. It can go in a plumber van or in a cat or the beyond.
That is the premise of the book, Amityville, The Evil Escapes. It is a bunch of short stories.
But none of them are lamps.
Not lamps, not clocks.
Of course.
Definitely not confessionals, which we're going to find in the next movie. Okay, so let's do what we always...
Were the pieces of furniture and detritus that were disseminated in these short stories, were they full evil or were they a percentage of the full evil of the house?
I don't remember.
Like, how is the evil...
Well, so, like, when we get into Amityville 1992, that clock can do things that never happened in the original.
Yeah.
And in fact, might be the reason for the original, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's like all of these things have their own superpowers. They're like a league of evil supervillains. And then they all got together like the house is some kind of magnet for bad items.
So are the flies a result, or are the flies themselves also evil? If your clock was full of flies from the Amityville house, would it be the flies that are evil or the clock that is evil?
I don't remember the clock having flies, but I do remember that they brought flies in onto the lamp for some reason.
Yes.
There was there's flies everywhere in the series, right? That's kind of even in the book. I was talking to Gordon. Gordon actually read the book. And he said one of the things he thought was cool was that there's like a fly on the cover.
Yes.
And then as you're reading, there's more and more flies throughout the novel itself.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Let's get into what we normally get into. Do we like this movie?
No.
All right.
I wouldn't watch this movie again, but for a 13 on Rotten Tomatoes, it was oddly watchable. I mean, I didn't, I didn't feel like turning it off.
It definitely was watchable.
Yeah. It had plenty of entertaining elements because I'm going to tell you, I liked it more than some of the other ones we've already watched.
I was going to say this. I think this movie is better by far than the Ryan Reynolds remake, maybe better than the original.
Really?
It's more entertaining. I mean, it's more fun to watch. It's more...
it's more of a story.
It's more of a story, yeah. It's just... It's got all the right elements to be entertainingly bad. So I was okay with that. You know? I mean, my first note on watching it was... expectations low. Hey, the credits are very nicely put together and the music's okay. So that's where that was my starting point. So hitting that level's not too hard, and they did that.
I thought, nothing is beating, and I think that nothing is going to beat Amityville 2.
That's pretty good. That is probably the best.
I think that Amityville 3 was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Stupid as hell, but so many...
So far in this franchise, for me, it goes 2, 3, 4, 1.
Yeah.
I think 1 is the worst.
One's the worst.
Okay. I think it's just awful.
Yeah. It is one of those amazing movies that gets worse on repeated viewings. The first time you watched it, it's like, oh, it's not too bad. It's kind of scary, kind of creepy. You watch it again going, what the fuck was I thinking? You watch it again going, oh, okay, I'm done watching this movie forever. It's just...
I could find no trivia on this of any real interest. This is just a movie that really, didn't impress anyone. 13% felt fine to me. Actually, I think it's bad, but really, its real crime is it's just kind of boring.
Right. I found one trivia note that is truly trivial.
All right.
They did a little bit of shooting at the original house, and the only way they were able to do that, because on 3, they apparently trampled the hell out of the owner's rose garden.
Oh.
So she did not want them to return.
Right.
But the director promised that, I think it's the same producers, that whoever was involved with that shoot would not be allowed on set, and they would purposely avoid them thoroughly. And she said, fine, you can shoot here.
So I came across that too, and it's not even at the original house. It's at the house that they built the facade on after the original.
That makes more sense. I'm going, what is that? Because I did that one news blurb at the end, I think the 3rd series.
Right.
And there's the owner was very much uninterested in anybody approaching that house at all.
Yeah. Yeah, they've taken out the eye windows and everything now and tried to really change the look of the house. I watched just recently on, I think it's called Paramount Plus or something. No, not Paramount. It might be Paramount Plus. It used to be Epix. Everybody's rebranding, so I can't tell what channel it was, but it was a 4-episode series called Amityville, an origin story. And each episode is about an hour long, and it goes into the original story and then the story of the Lutzes and all of their stuff. And as I'm watching this, I'm getting angrier and angrier because they're treating it all like fact.
Oh, jeez.
And then finally at the 4th episode, they go through and they discredit everything. They basically say, so this is what has happened since all of this happened. And they talk mostly to I think he was the middle son of the Lutzes. And he and George Lutz did not get along, and they were suing each other and all of this stuff. And then they had this weird thing where at the end, the kid acts almost like he cast a spell on George, and that's why he died or something.
That sounds vaguely. Is that from a while ago?
It just came out.
Okay, then it wasn't the one I saw. I saw something with the kid from a long time ago where he was very weird.
I'll say this. I thought it was really nicely put together, edited really nicely, and just some great opening credits. And the stuff that they were talking about was pretty interesting. But like you can see here, I have High Hopes. I picked that up at Crypticon. I've been reading that, and that is written by the prosecutor of the DeFeo case. Oh. And he is laying everything out, and it's stuff that even in the other things I'd read has not been talked about. And it's just, it's all a big, huge scam.
Yeah.
And I'm really disappointed in how many people are still like holding on to this and hoping it. I don't think they're stupid. I think that there are people who really want to believe that there's something other than the tangible in this world. And so, a haunted house seems cool.
Yeah. Yep. I can understand it. I want to believe.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, I think that's pretty much the episode. Anything else that you guys wanted to talk about this movie in particular?
Nothing I got. How about you?
I don't think so. I think we covered it pretty good.
Yeah.
Steve, can we count on you coming back for another movie?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, well, you won't bother to watch any of the movies in between.
I might not.
You really won't have to. There is zero continuity between any of these films.
As I say,
I want to see one of the ones like Amityville Zombies or Amityville Shark, or like one of these ones that just has nothing to do with anything.
You're going to be very disappointed you said that, because those are the movies we will be bringing you back for.
Amityville Zombie Shark?
You need to watch Amityville 2, The Possession.
Okay.
Yeah.
You will enjoy it.
I will do that homework.
That's a good one. Uncomfortable, creepy stuff.
Right.
Not necessarily just in horror story-wise, but yeah.
Right. Steve, tell the people where they can find you if they want to find you.
Bonebat.com.
Fantastic. Eric, what about you?
Strange Eons Radio. We got some shit going on there.
Yes, we do.
I hear there's a cool new website somebody writing or
yes,
writer or
yes.
something?
So you can find me on Strange Hands Radio also, and my website, writtenbyklyoung.com, where I'm selling some of my chapbooks and stuff like that, and soon a novel.
Nice.
Excellent.
So, okay, that's it. We'll be back in about a month, and we'll be talking about Amityville Curse.
13 minutes of right now. Back in November 1975, 6 people were killed in an awful mass murder. God knows it's got to be awful, in a small town on Long Island. The town is called Amityville. The murders took place in this house. 1 year later, George and Kathleen Lutz bought the house, and they moved into it with their 3 children. After living there for 28 days, they were convinced the house was possessed by some kind of evil force, and they left their belongings and they fled, and they were really terrified. The events that supposedly took place there during those 28 days have been put down in a best-selling book. It's called The Amityville Horror, and there is now a movie out, or about to come out, of the book. George and Kathleen Lutz are with us this morning to talk about what happened during those 28 days in Amityville. And James Brolin, super young man, actor.
Thank you.
Yes, much pleasure. Good to see you again, Jim. He plays George Lutz in the movie, and Jim is with us this morning, and it's great seeing you again.
Great seeing you again.
Lutzes, good morning to you both.
Good morning.
All right, first of all, the book and the movie depict all these kind of weird, strange things that happened in the house during those 28 days when you were there. What kind of things, George, happened physically? What were some of the things that happened that scared you?
Well, at first, just moving into the house was fine. It's a lovely house.
Yeah.
And we enjoyed moving in. Within a week, Kathy's hand had been touched by something that we discussed and couldn't explain. It was just something unseen.
This is in the daylight, or was it?
Yes,
It was during the day.
Right.
Okay.
We also had hordes of flies that would appear within 2 rooms. And no matter how many times we would kill them, they would reappear.
All right, now flies can be a real problem in this part of the country in the summer, in any house, you know.
But if you have 2 or 3 or 4 within 1 room, that could be commonplace. But when you're talking over 100...
Well, this was the winter.
Yes.
And you're talking about how many?
Over 100 flies.
Over 100
at
flies.
one time. And then you'd go around and kill them. They'd be lying on the floor. You'd come back an hour later and they would be there.
To be continued on the next episode of the Amityville Horror Picture Show.